Imagine your smartest assistant suddenly says, "I don't know, let me check Google for you." Sounds weird, right? But that's exactly what ChatGPT secretly does sometimes, and if you know why, you can exploit that limitation to get even better answers. Let me show you how. Hey everyone. Spine, everyone. It's George, and after over 10 years making online content, I've seen all sorts of tech hype cycles. But this one is special. Generative AI is rewriting how we get answers, how we learn, and even how we search. Today, I want to peel back a layer that most people don't realize: why ChatGPT still often turns to Google or search engines, and more importantly, how you can outsmart that dependency to get sharper, faster, more reliable answers. This isn't just theory. I'll walk you through real examples, show you the traps, and give you tactics you can use right now. Let's dive. 1. What people think AI search is, and what it really is. Let's begin with a little mental experiment. You ask ChatGPT, "What's the current price of Bitcoin?" You ask Google, same question. Google instantly gives you real-time charts, links to exchanges, news sites. ChatGPT, unless it's hooked into a live browsing mode, may respond based on outdated data or tell you it doesn't know. This gap reveals the core difference. ChatGPT is fundamentally a language model, trained on tons of text data, up to a cutoff date. It generates responses by pattern matching, prediction, and internal reasoning. It doesn't natively crawl the web in real time the way Google does. However, in practice, OpenAI has equipped ChatGPT, in some versions, with search plus browsing capabilities so that it can fetch more up-to-date info. But even then, what's under the hood often still relies on search engine-style lookups, for example, scraping search results, to fetch live or recent info. So, when ChatGPT turns to Google, it's more like it checks a snapshot of what Google or other search indexes say now, then tries to integrate that result with its internal knowledge. 2. Why ChatGPT can't just replace Google, yet. This brings us to a question. If ChatGPT is so smart, why not just let it be the search engine? Here are the core limitations that force it to lean on Google: your search indexes, knowledge cutoff and stale data. ChatGPT's training ends at a certain date. Without browsing, it doesn't know what happens after that. So for fresh news, stock prices, new products, it needs external lookup. Lack of indexing and web infrastructure. Google spends decades building web crawlers, indexing trillions of pages, ranking them, handling localization, spam, freshness. ChatGPT doesn't have that built-in infrastructure yet. Speed, scale, and cost constraints. Fetching and ranking web pages, in real time, is expensive. It's much cheaper, for many queries, to rely on search engine results rather than rebuild from scratch. Uncertainty, trust, and verification. Google is strong at pointing to sources, showing you a list of web pages, letting you cross-check. ChatGPT's strength is summarization and conversation, but it's weaker at transparency. Where did you get that? So ChatGPT borrows from search engines. In fact, some reports claim OpenAI has scraped or accessed Google search data via services like SERP API to bolster real-time responses. In short, ChatGPT isn't refusing to search, it's just outsourcing parts of that function to proven web indices. 3. Examples where ChatGPT turns to Google, and what goes wrong. Let me walk you through simple scenarios and their pitfalls, then you'll see how to flip them. Example. A. What's the population of Athens in 2025? ChatGPT, without browsing, might say, as of my last stat in 2023, Athens' population is about 3.15 million. With browsing, ChatGPT will try to fetch a recent source, often via a search-like call, and might produce a new figure with a citation. But here's a trap. If the search result it uses is outdated or low quality, e.g. a blog or a low reliability site, it may still give wrong numbers. Worse, it might not indicate which version is correct or whether it's official. Example B. Which new smartphone was released this week? Without browsing, ChatGPT refuses or gives info up to cutoff. With browsing, it fetches recent articles via a search-based query, then merges with internal knowledge. Pitfall: search algorithms prioritize trending or clickbait sites, so ChatGPT might pick up an unverified rumor or press release leak as fact. Example C. Give me 5 tools for video editing plus links where I can buy them in Greece. ChatGPT can suggest tools by name, but when it needs links or local shop availability, it often defers and says, you can check generic name, and may not provide up-to-date links. Many users complain it's weak at product suggestions. That means it essentially signals, I know tools, but for the current sale, go look it up yourself, i.e., turning to Google. In each scenario, the act of turning to Google is really fetching a web result and wrapping it in narrative. 4. The secret backdoor you can exploit. Now here's where things get fun. Because ChatGPT hides how exactly it fetches, you can steer it to use better sources. In effect, outsmart its dependency. Consider this your power user mode. Tactic 1. Force it to cite search sources you trust. Prompt, like this. Give me the top 3 sources with URLs from recent web search, then summarize their consensus. This forces it to show you where it's drawing from. If it picks weak sites, you'll spot that. Ask, why did you pick this URL? Or, is there a government or academic source? Tactic 2. Combine ChatGPT plus Google in your workflow. Think of ChatGPT as your explainer and Google as your verifier. Here's a pattern. Start with ChatGPT. Ask a conceptual or broad question. Ask it, give me 3 URLs from web search to verify. Open those yourself in Google or a browser. Read, compare, catch contradictions, return and say, I checked these sources, now aggregate or critique. This way you catch errors and benefit from both systems. Tactic 3. Be very specific so its search module doesn't go wild. If your prompt is vague, ChatGPT may fetch broad or marginal sources. Instead, use precision. In 2025, in Greece, list 3 e-commerce platforms that sell toolkits under $200 with URLs. In medical studies after 2023, what's the observed effect of drug X? Cite 2 peer-reviewed papers. This constrains the search space and reduces hallucination via web search. Tactic 4. Prompt it to compare search engine results explicitly. Ask, search the web for Y, then search Google independently for Y. Compare discrepancies, what differs, which seems more credible, and why. That forces ChatGPT to treat its web module as a data source, not gospel, and contrast it with what you might find via Google. Tactic 5. Ask it to reason about source trustworthiness. Say, of these 5 URLs you found, which are more likely biased or low quality? Rank them and explain your reasoning, e.g. domain, author, update date. That pushes it to critique its own sources rather than just swallow anything because it's surfaced in a search. 5. Why most users don't push ChatGPT this way and lose out. In my decade of content making, I see patterns. Most people use ChatGPT like they use Google. Type a question, get an answer, trust it. They rarely poke deeper. That's exactly what OpenAI expects. And done kur undone and kurzer. Undone and done. Indicted sense. For simplicity, but it has consequences. You accept lower quality or biased sources without scrutiny. You miss contradictions or more recent updates. You lose the ability to teach the AI to improve your result. The best users are the ones who ask for the engine behind the engine. You want to see where the answer comes from, not just the answer. Also, ChatGPT, in many cases, doesn't automatically show everything it used. Without prompting, you never see the Google turn. That gives it a veneer of mystery or infallibility, which is dangerous. 6. Use case walkthrough. Let's do one together. Let's pick something concrete and walk through it. Prompt. Tell me what's new in electric car models in Europe in 2025. List 3 models, their specs, and links to their official sites. Then cross-check with your web search sources, and tell me which model seems the most promising. Reliability range. What ChatGPT should do if using its search module. Name 3 new electric vehicles, models just released or coming in Europe 2025. For each, fetch specs, range, charge time, price from recent web pages. Provide URLs or citations to those pages. Compare the models with analysis of reliability, range, or brand reputation, possibly citing reviews or user reports. You, as a power user, after you see the suggestions, plus URLs, open the URLs in your browser, check manufacturer sites, automotive review sites, consumer reports, see if one model is likely overhyped, maybe specs claimed but not yet tested. Return to ChatGPT. I checked these links. 2 are manufacturer estimates, only 1 has third-party test results. Revise your ranking accordingly, and cite those third-party tests. This iterative loop forces ChatGPT to update, correct itself, and show its sources. You turn it from passive answer engine into a collaborative researcher. 7. Why the ChatGPT still uses Google Fact is your leverage, not a weakness. You might hear critics say, if ChatGPT has to rely on Google, then it's weak. That's a partial truth, but it overlooks the upside. You can control how that reliance is used. By understanding when and how ChatGPT turns to Google, you gain transparency. You know when placeholder answers are being used. Power. You can prompt it to use better sources. Accuracy. You can catch errors because you control the verification step. Speed. You'll waste less time chasing mistakes or misinformation. It's like knowing your car's engine type. If you know where it's weak, you drive smarter, tune stronger, and avoid breaking down. 8. Common objections and how to handle them. Objection 1. That's too much work, I just want a quick answer. True, this pushes you to do a bit more than ask and receive, but if you only ever do quick answers, you'll also repeat errors or get suboptimal info. A 20% time investment in prompt plus verification can yield 5x better results. Objection 2. ChatGPT will improve and stop needing search dependencies. Maybe, someday, but even then, it will likely rely on an internal index or web crawl infrastructure. Functionally the same dependency, and users will always want to see which sources were used. Objection 3. I don't know good sources to trust. You can start simple. Government, academia, .edu, .ac, .gov, respected media, or journals. As ChatGPT shows you URLs, you'll build a feel for what's trustworthy. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to ask. An naustinsterkrauben autem, an browserkrauben arjul gunst. The tools and plugins to accelerate this process. Because I've been in the creator tech space for years, I've seen or built tools that help with exactly this transparency plus control model. Here are some you might want to adopt or watch. Browser extensions that show source chain. These plug into ChatGPT and automatically show which URLs were used. Prompt libraries are templates, pre-built prompts that force ChatGPT to cite, compare, critique. Hybrid agents, assistant plus browser tools. Some platforms combine GPT with real browser-level search in a more visible way. Custom GPTs in ChatGPT. You can build your own mini GPT that has stricter rules about source citations and credibility. OpenAI supports creation of custom GPTs tied to predefined behaviors. Verification dashboards, checkers, tools that, given the URLs, can assess their domain authority, age, bias, etc. If you integrate these tools with your prompting style, you effectively turn ChatGPT into a fact-aware, source-respecting research assistant. 10. Scripted example. How you should talk to ChatGPT, full prompt. Here's a sample prompt you can drop into ChatGPT or adapt to force transparency and high quality. I want you to act as an expert researcher. For the question, your question, do the following steps. Search for at least 5 reputable URLs. Research papers, recognized media, government, industry, and list them with title, domain, date. Summarize the key findings of each. Compare them. Where do they agree? Where do they differ? And which you find more credible, and why? Produce a combined answer that leans toward the most credible sources. If there's ambiguity, explicitly state that and give options. Here is my first question, your question. That style of prompt forces ChatGPT out of its comfort zone of just answer and into a meta-reasoning mode. Over time, you'll internalize that style, and your results will improve drastically. 11. Summary. Why this matters now more than ever. ChatGPT is powerful, but it doesn't have a perfect live web index, so it often borrows Google-like search results. Many users never notice that and accept answers uncritically. That's a huge missed opportunity. By understanding when it's relying on search, and by prompting it to show its sources, compare them, and critique them, you turn ChatGPT into a thinking partner, rather than a black box. The best AI users aren't those who blindly trust the output. They're the ones who interrogate the process. And this transparency plus control mindset is a skill that will keep growing more valuable, even when models get smarter. If you like this, drop me a comment. What's the craziest misinformation ChatGPT ever gave you when it turned to Google? I'll help you reverse engineer how to catch that next time. If you want, I can also build a plugin or prompt pack for you to automate this source-aware ChatGPT style. Let me know. I've got you.